The date is August 10th, 2025. The project is the AC clutch on my 2006 Ford F-350 6-liter Power Stroke diesel. I'm making this video. This is certainly not a step-by-step how-to. This is just to cover from a high level what I ran into and how I chose to tackle the job. I followed a few videos and procedures that made it sound like you could do this job without really tearing into the engine bay too much and removing the fan shroud and all that. I decided very quickly that I wasn't comfortable using the tiny stud. Basically, if you want to try and do it using those methods, you have to get a longer screw that threads into here, and then you put a nut on that screw, and you have to make something to actually pull the magnetic coil on, which is one layer below this. I should have filmed this before I put this on. So the biggest challenge is to get the magnetic coil on. So people will get a longer bolt and they'll fabricate up some kind of spacer, and they'll use that bolt with a nut to actually pull that in. Now I started doing that. I spent about an hour under the truck trying that process, and it's such a tiny bolt that once I got to a certain torque, I knew I was going to snap it off, and so I just wasn't comfortable with it. I'm sure it can be done, but I decided I wasn't willing to take the risk, so I abandoned that for the day, and then I revisited the project after getting ready to actually take the fan off. Now, getting the fan off is a real pain, but if I had this to do over again, I would have taken the fan off to begin with, because I would have been able to tear down so much faster. I would say you can get the whole fan and all the shrouds out in about an hour. So hour out, hour back in, and it just makes the job so much easier. Now, you do have to drain your coolant. I would follow the Diesel Techron video on how to get the fan shrouds out. He's got a couple different ones. One's about how to get the first shroud out, and the other one is how to get the shroud out that's around the fan itself. I tried to do this with my own tools and it didn't work, so get the right tools. I'm going to show you what you need to get this off. What you need here is a 48mm wrench. I tried to modify a tool. It takes a lot of torque. I had to hit that with a sledgehammer to actually get it to break free. People have shown examples of using an air chisel. I don't know. I think it's just a way too high torque application. You really need the wrench. What you don't need is you don't need the holder, but you do need the wrench. And the holder holds this piece in place, and it's a set of hooks that hook like in two places like that. I used a piece of just a piece of steel. They're pretty big holes, and I was able to get that to come down and touch this housing here, so that locked it. This is a straight thread, it's not reverse thread, so left to get it to come off. So yeah, get the wrench. This was an AutoZone rental, $75, so that's not even going to cost me anything. And other than that, follow Techron's procedure on how to get this out, and use your discretion. But like I said, if you go down the same path I did, you're going to beat your head against the wall for a half a day just to get the AC clutch off, having not the room you need, and you're not going to be able to get the new one installed properly. So I suggest, taking the fan shrouds out before you even start the job. So the reason for taking the fan shrouds out is so that you have enough room down here. When you need to seat, the reason you need room is because when you seat this, and when you seat the coil, magnetic coil that sits behind that, you need to be able to tap it on from all angles. And you have to be able to do that very carefully. I used strips of aluminum so I didn't damage anything, and I did it the lightest taps I possibly could. And you really need all of this room. When that fan shroud is in the way, you can't do anything, and you have to make sure that this job has been done reliably. So that's about the end of this video. That's all I really was looking to cover here. You're going to find other videos with a step-by-step. That wasn't the point here. The point here was just to show the process I stuck to and the conclusion I came to in the end and what I think is necessary. So I hope this helps somebody. Have a great day.